Morning everyone. Fantastic result for England last night in the end. We did it the hard way, but marvellous. I'm absolutely over the moon to see us progress to the quarter-finals. It was some feeling when we won this penalty shootout. Um, my thoughts about the game: I thought England started a little bit within themselves, and I thought both sides were really good off the ball in the first half. But maybe England played slightly conservatively, so the likes of Ali, Sterling and Lingard perhaps all played ever so slightly deeper than they have done. We didn't press quite as high as I thought we might do, although it was still an organised press, probably in the first two-thirds of the pitch. Colombia were really well organised. I think you've got to give Peckerman some credit for the way that they were organised. It was kind of like a 3-4-3 in some respects at times, with them really pressing wide, but not centrally. So Stones was allowed a lot of the ball, and they basically sat and said, "Come and break us down." They were really impressive, and I thought particularly Mina and Sanchez were at the back were outstanding. They dealt with Harry Kane exceptionally well. It was quite a mature performance, I thought, from them from a defensive point of view. In terms of their shenanigans in the penalty area and off the ball, pressure on the referee, leaving a little bit on our players, the amount of times that our players perhaps might have reacted in the past during that game could have been a lot different. But again, another hallmark of the temperament of these young players on in the most extreme conditions. That they didn't react, that they stayed focused, that they helped each other out at times when they perhaps needed to. The kind of the way that the Colombians carried on at times, in previous years, it'd have ended up in a big, in an 11-man brawl or 22-man brawl, because it was getting ridiculous at times. It was clearly premeditated the way that they did it, but really pleased with the way that they reacted, that the England players reacted. I thought Harry Kane led England incredibly last night. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. I think we managed the game and we didn't play terrific football. I think it was a combination of perhaps the Colombians not allowing us to, and maybe we were slightly more defensive in the way that we set out in the game. But I thought it was really important for us at times to win free kicks in and around the box. It was really important for Kane to hold the ball up, and he was so responsible again in the way that he played last night. He won numerous free kicks. He's fantastic at getting his body across, taking a touch and going down, and that's just professionalism and fantastic game management. He took a lot of kicks, took a lot of physical and verbals probably out there, but remained cool, remained completely focused, and ultimately, he led us to a fantastic victory, and scored the penalty once again, kept cool, and his penalty in the penalty shootout was outstanding. So huge admiration for the job that Harry Kane's doing, because he's still a relatively young guy, and what an outstanding leader our country's got. I thought the back three for England were exceptional, absolutely exceptional. A lot of people talk about the way that they played out from the back, and it was so controlled, so calm, executed incredibly well. I didn't think that they got as much help from the players in front of them, and that makes it even more admirable the way that they played, and the way that they played out. They started attacks. They soaked perhaps some pressure in some respects. That they had to be patient. They had to deal with a Colombian side that were very well organised, and so they had to go backwards to go forwards a lot. But they were outstanding in terms of the way that they played out. I've never seen a side on an international stage, maybe the likes of, I guess, Chile under Sampaoli, but that was incredible, an incredibly mature performance from three inexperienced players, really, but clearly capable at the very highest level. But what I also, from my standpoint, and I love to focus on the defensive side of the game, the physicality and the athleticism, the anticipation, 1v1 defending, their support and cover of each other, their positioning. We shipped probably 2-3 chances, in a World Cup knockout game against the Colombian side, who were no mugs. They might not be the best side in the world, it certainly weren't mugs. So the way we defended was, I was so pleased with, and it was such a mature performance. I think John Stones, I kind of feel a little bit loath to talk about him too much, but I personally think he's right up there. He certainly has the potential to be. His performances in his career so far perhaps haven't won him as many admirers as I thought he would do, but I think he's really coming of age. Harry Maguire was once again outstanding. The guy's got no fear. He's got absolutely no fear. And Kyle Walker, to be fair, was really good for a player who I felt struggled with the ball at times on the right side of the pitch. For him to go and play in a back three that plays out so much, you've got to give him huge credit. Jordan Pickford, wow. Again, the reason the back three were able to play, and they didn't get a lot of support in front of them, but they don't have to get some support from him behind, his positioning. If they do have to turn and go back, he anticipates the need to perhaps play, go and play outside his penalty area, to the left side, to the right side. He'll sweep, and go and provide them with the support. And his first touch and his distribution's exceptional. There was one particular moment he took the ball under a little bit of pressure on the left side of the penalty area, quite a wide and quite an exposed area. And he wrapped his left foot around the ball. Didn't look to ping it, but actually wrapped his left foot around the ball and almost played the ball just inside the touchline, but really 40 yards to just short of the halfway line to, I think it would have been Ashley Young. And it was an exceptional example of just how much quality the boy's got in terms of his distribution. His distribution from his hands was outstanding as well. A couple of times he spotted opportunities to throw the ball, and he throws the ball hard and flat. He was exceptional. But obviously it's nice to see people talk about his quality as a goalkeeper with his hands as well last night. Once again, go back to the strong mindset of this team. He's hardly had a shot to save all game, and then the 90th minute, he pulls off an absolute worldie of a save, gets his feet in the right position. I saw a great piece by David Priest on Pickford's positioning and the fact that he didn't get a power stride into it, didn't shift his feet quickly enough to allow him to propel himself far enough to save the goal against Januzaj against Belgium, but he got his footwork, the timing of his dive right, and pulled off a really outstanding save. And then obviously in the penalty shootout for their fifth penalty, it was just an incredible penalty save, incredible athleticism, great strong hand, and celebrated by the whole of his country as if we'd scored. It was just incredible moment. I think Eric Dyer, obviously, the change that Southgate made, I understand why he made it. I think I've been there before myself, where I've made changes and people will perceive that you're being negative, but you've got to do what you feel is right in that situation. Hindsight's 20/20, and clearly Dyer didn't have a great game in possession. Don't really felt that I didn't feel like we were anywhere near as controlled with him playing there and Henderson playing 15 yards further forward than he did. I would have rather they played perhaps as a double pivot, at least for a time, to get some security. And that's security in terms of when we don't have the ball, but also security when we do have the ball. So Dyer might have had some easier. He could have had a little bit more support short and on the angle, rather than having to look to play slightly longer, 15, 20, 30 yards, because he struggled with it, and his body shape, the way he receives the ball, and the way he looks to play, he plays for me like a centre half, perhaps playing in that position. And at one point, I think I might have tried to alleviate the pressure a little bit by switching Stones and Dyer, and allowing Stones perhaps to dictate in that area of the pitch. But again, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and I can't lie. I was really pleased that Dyer stood up and took that fifth penalty and scored it, and got an element of the glory, because he's such a strong character, clearly, and one a player that Southgate trusts. And you can't legislate for that. No one sat at home with a beer in their hand or in a pub or on Twitter can legislate for the way that a manager feels about a player. So Southgate's judgment so far has been pretty good. That obviously wasn't one of the best decisions so far in this tournament, but Yeah, like I say, really nice to see him get an element of redemption, and now it's back to the drawing board. The next 24 hours are critical. It looked to me like Young, possibly Ali carrying injuries, maybe even Henderson. I think Henderson was really faded in extra time, which doesn't surprise me. The amount of work he puts in, and the quality of the output that he puts in. So massive 24 hours in terms of recovery, doing all the right things, making judgments on players that are going to be fit for Saturday, or potentially could struggle to make it for Saturday. And then forget Southgate's challenges. Let's think about the rest of us for a moment. Our nerves were all probably shot to pieces last night. But then obviously we all got to experience the elation, and I think I'll just finish by saying that I'm incredibly proud of the performance that England put in last night, and those young players put in, because they are young players, and every one of these experiences is going to make every single one of those a bigger and better footballer on the world stage. They're going to grow as people and as players as part of this process, and Southgate's proven himself to be a really, really well organised, outstanding leader for this nation. The penalties clearly showed that. I don't think it is luck. I don't think it's luck. I'm a firm believer in preparing and having a method. Method, you can argue about what's the right method, but if you have a method and you can repeat that process, and you can take out the variables so that the players know what will be expected of them in that situation. Of course you can't replicate the pressure, of course you can't replicate the fatigue, you can't replicate the crowd, but what you can do is replicate what they have to execute, and it feels to me like they've done that meticulously, and again, that's just for me, it's typical of the way that Southgate's prepared this England side. And as I say, I'm one very proud England fan sat here in Bucharest this morning. Really looking forward to Saturday. Hope everyone enjoyed it, and let's hope this keeps rolling, because it's a wonderful feeling. Absolutely amazing. Okay, cheers guys.